New to the cultural funding program this year is Submittable, which is our new grant platform that many of you have probably used in other fundraising and grant writing activities, but it's new to the city of Wichita and to this program. Today's informational session is really geared to be informational in how to use Submittable to apply for one of the cultural funding program grants. I'll pass it over here to Jesse Koza in a moment. Jesse's our cultural arts administrator and will guide us through the process and will be your right hand through the entire funding program cycle this year. If you have any questions about the grant, about Submittable, feel free to reach out to him. But I do also want to introduce Beth, the chair of the Cultural Funding Committee. Beth, anything you'd like to add?
The only thing I'd add is we're really excited about this. The committee has wanted an online application form. We've heard what you all have said in the past. And so we're really excited that we can bring this to fruition this year.
Thank you, Beth. All right, Jesse, take it away.
Absolutely. As Lizzie said, my name is Jesse Koza, and I am the Cultural Arts Administrator for the City of Wichita. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, possibly. Give me one moment. I'm sorry, I'm not quite ready to do that, apparently. I will go ahead now and start sharing my screen. So, like Lindsay mentioned, this is really supposed to be a very basic overview of the Submittable system. Those of you who are on the call today may be very familiar with Submittable, and this may be a lot of information you already have. But if you are watching this later, or if you don't have experience with Submittable, hopefully this will help you feel more comfortable with the process moving forward. That said, everything I'm talking about today is not meant to be exhaustive, and this is our first year using it for this program. So there are going to be issues, there are going to be hiccups, and I'll show you some ways of solving those hiccups. Otherwise, just reach out to me. My email, I'll say it now and I'll try to say it again at the end. My email is jkoza@wichita.gov. And I would love to hear from you if you're having problems with Submittable so that we can figure it out together. Now, you can find our link to Submittable on wichita.gov/arts. What I went ahead and did here first, though, is just wanted to show you, in case you forget about that address, wichita.gov/arts, you can just Google Wichita Grant, and we come up here in the second thing. You can Wichita Art Grant, gets you even closer. I even checked Bing, and we're like the third result on Bing. So, you know, if you forget where to find this stuff, absolutely, just Google. Hopefully you'll find it. If not, just reach out. I'll get you there. If you go to wichita.gov, under Get Information, we're right here under Departments, under Arts and Cultural Services. That A is very helpful. And it takes you straight to our webpage. Cultural arts funding is right here in the middle of our blue bar. Or if you scroll down, it's right here in the middle column, about halfway down the page. You can learn more about funding opportunities. So on our cultural arts funding page, you'll see there are some helpful hints for folks who are maybe new to the process or returning to the process, or just want to, you know, double check that they've truly done everything that they can to make their application as good as it could be. But right here, big in the middle, applications for the cultural funding grants will be accepted March 6th through June 2nd, 2023. And you can apply online. And that will take you to wichita.submittable.com. And that is really the place to get started with this. You can go directly here if you just put in wichita.submittable.com. It will take you directly to this home page for it. Just a word of warning, if you click sort of outside this box, it will take you right back to where you were. Feel free to use your browser's back button or navigate back in another way. So once you're here, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and then go back, just to let you know. When you get to this web page, and if you are submitting an application, I highly recommend you go ahead and just bookmark this page. But the fastest way to see your application where it is in the process is to click up here with view your submission. That's always going to say view your submissions, whether you are logged in or not. If you have an account and you are logged in, you just click view your submissions, and we'll do that a little later. I just wanted to show it to you while we're up here. That will take you to an overview of your personal account, which will have your application for our grant program. So if you don't have an account, view your submissions will allow you to create one. The other way to create an account is to go down. So all this information here in the middle are the types of grants we offer, important dates, eligibility for the grants, more information about the grants. This information used to be at the start of all of our applications. So now we've put it here on the main page so that you can see the information that would, like I said, would have been on the application originally. Quick FYI about our Artist Access grants, that timetable has changed, sorry. And they will begin review in December of this year. So applications will open up in a few months for Artist Access grants. When you're at the bottom here, you'll see two options: developing arts grants and operational funding grants. If you have an account, hitting submit, that doesn't submit the thing, it just means you want to submit to this. I cannot change that language, so it is what it is. You'll click submit. If you have an account, you'll be able to sign in to get there. If you don't, you can just click sign up here on the other tab, and it is literally just these 6 boxes that you need to fill out. Very simple. And when you fill it out, it will take you directly to the application that you just tried to enter. You will receive a welcome email from Submittable, and you'll receive a confirm your email from Submittable. I would imagine most people are familiar with those sorts of emails, but just know that you will get those from the company just to make sure that everything's good to go with your account. You do not need to handle those right away in order to continue with the application, but at some point it would be good to make sure that you have them done. So if you've got an account, you'll sign in, email your password, and you'll click sign in. So that takes you, this is the application. Your account information is up here on the right. You can always look at my submissions to see applications that you submitted in the past. You can use my profile to change the information on your profile. You can create a cover letter template if you're using Submittable for anything else. You can also change your password there. My settings, a lot of things like email settings. Do you want to receive emails from Submittable? Do you want to receive emails via Submittable? That is to say, like, if I contact you, do you want me to be able to contact you via Submittable? Things like that. So once you are in the grant, once again, it's got this information in the middle. Just making sure that you see the eligibility, the mission statement that yours needs to align with. For our operating grants, we've got our 3 kinds of organizations, all this information. At the bottom in the middle here, technical questions. So I said earlier, we will figure out ways to solve problems. If you're having a problem with Submittable, if it's with Submittable itself, like you can't log in or things aren't showing up properly, that would be a question for Submittable, the platform. So there's a resource center that you can use, or there's customer support that you can contact. You're absolutely welcome to reach out to me if, like, all the font looks crazy or you forgot your password or something like that. I can't directly help you with that, but I can work with you to contact the right people. But this technical question is on the application itself. It is on the previous page that we were on. And there is a way to get there from your profile. So if you are having issues, just look for this technical questions section or a section like it. to see if you can reach out to someone to solve it. So start the application, you'll put your organization's name in. So that's not your name. You have your own personal account to do with whatever you will. And then you are filing on behalf of your organization. So, you know, I may put Jesse's Awesome Arts Company in this name. This question will not be filled in. Unfortunately, this is a draft that was saved. I have read and understand the guidelines presented above. We just want to make sure that you have read through this and that you believe your organization fits the eligibility. If you're a previous submitter, likely you know you can just skim it and make sure nothing has changed from last year to this year. It's just a different platform to submit. If you say yes, I have read and understand, you move on into the application. If you don't understand it, you can hit submit to finish the application for now, and I will reach out to you and we can figure out what you're confused about, or you know, determine that you're eligible if you aren't certain that you're eligible, things like that. But for now, we'll just say yes. So the application itself should have everything on it that the previous application did, the ones that you would submit via PDF or via hard copy. If you see a red asterisk here, that means it's required. It will ask you to fill that out if you try to submit it and it's blank. Check the amount that applies to your prior year actual expenses. This is mostly helping to determine whether or not we need to ask you for an audit. If you are a $500,000 plus organization, you will be asked to include an audit as part of your application. So it's very simple: phone number, website, your federal tax ID, contact name. That can be your name. It can be someone else at your organization. We'll have your name anyway because you're submitting. So if you want it to be, you know, your general director or your executive director or whoever your director of development, feel free to put them in. And then we get to our fillable section, such as our organization staff list. Now, you are welcome to use this section to fill it out. You might see here at the bottom, if you need to add additional people, please use the upload option at the end of the application. That could also be used to just upload the staff list in its entirety and not fill out this section here. It's sort of up to you. But if you somehow have more than 14 staff members and you need more space, there's an upload option at the end of the application where you can do that. I'll show you that in a moment. Otherwise, you can also just use that upload option. If you already have a spreadsheet, you can just upload it there. If you want to focus more on this section, you can use here up in the upper right corner, the sort of maximize button, and it will just fill the space for you. I like it. It makes it a little bit easier to focus. There's less to scroll. So it's an excellent option. Same thing here with the Board of Trustees / Directors list. Again, if you need additional people, if you need to add additional people, please use the upload option at the end of the application. And again, it has the maximize option in the upper right. You'll input your mission statement, your organization's operations, all those things. For the operational grant and for the developing arts grant, they both have proposal narratives. Those have character limits. That's meant to sort of keep in the spirit of the original application, which asked you to keep all of your answers to a certain number of pages total. You actually have more space in this application to answer questions than you did in the past. You do not need to use all of that information. You do not need to use all that space. But we do want to make sure that you keep your answers as brief as possible. So we have given you somewhat of a limit. There are occasionally narrative questions that have helpful information here underneath. You might want to keep an eye out for that. But overall, you can very easily even just tab through these options. So if you just want to punch them out one in a row or one at a time, all in a row, you can easily do so just using your keyboard. But they're all the same question that we had before. If a question asks you, if a previous narrative question asked you to include a document, that's going to come later in the application. These are all just the narrative style questions. So here, after we get past the narrative, we get to attendance data for the organizational groups. You might notice this section is a little wide, so it has this horizontal scroll bar here on the bottom. That can be a little annoying because obviously you lose your first row. So this one especially, I would recommend using the maximize button because everything fits rather nicely in the screen when you do so. Now, I would encourage you to notice that Submittable does not immediately put things like commas or dollar signs in. In fact, I'm not certain. Yeah, it doesn't even really recognize the dollar sign. And I think if you put a comma in, so it has a, well, it does count the comma, but it doesn't put it in on its own. So just know that if you, for your own need, if you want to add that comma, you can. It won't do it automatically. You will not be docked points if it is missing. But just it's a quirk of Submittable that it doesn't do that automatically. And you'll see here, because I've started it, it's now mad at me that the attendance data field is required. Fundraising data, you can see it all in this smaller window. You can maximize it, same thing. You might notice that some of these cells are a slightly different color. That is because you don't need to put any information there. So they are not selectable in that way. So now we're on to the upload section. Here's that additional staff or board members as necessary. I've given you the ability to attach up to 2 files. That would be staff and board members. You know that in previous years, we've asked for fiscal information from your previous fiscal year. You can upload those as a single document. You can upload them as 3 individual documents. You can see the acceptable file types here. I may go back and add Excel into that, but for now, they are a Word document, a PDF, or an image. Again, accounting documents, your current board approved annual budget, your in-kind list, and then it asks for your Form 990. You'll notice it doesn't ask for your audit. That's because we haven't told it that we are a large organization. If we go back and do that, we say we are a large organization. You'll see now at the bottom, it does say, please upload a recent audit. So I didn't want to panic our medium and small organizations. So if you are a small organization or a medium organization, it does not show up. In the past, you had to sign these documents, you had to add your signature. Now it's a little hard to see, but it's a checkbox here to the left. I hereby certify that I'm authorized. So you'll check that. And you can either save your draft or submit it when you're finished. Now, you may have noticed as I was doing this, this saves quite frequently, the draft. Let's see, there we go, right there in the top middle, draft saves. So it's very good about keeping your information updated for you, so that should the worst happen, your battery runs out on your laptop, your power goes out if you've got a desktop, You will not hopefully lose too much information as you're working on this document, but you can always manually save your draft here in the bottom left. Just checking my notes. Okay, so that's the application itself. It is long. It has always been a little long, but you know, I think it's a little bit easier to handle here digitally. So what does it look like on your specific account page? So up here in the upper right corner, you won't have this section here that says team accounts. I'm special, so I get that. You'll get my submission, and you can look here. Now, your first tab says all submissions, and you'll see it says completed or it says received on the left. If it says received, that means that it has come to me, but I have not yet confirmed that it has everything that it needs. It just means that it successfully got into my inbox. My being literally me, Jesse Koza, Cultural Arts Administrator. If it says completed, that means that it has been accepted as a submission and it will have gone on to the Cultural Funding Committee. I will be in contact with you. You won't have to check this to see like, oh, you know, okay, it's moved on, we're good to go. I'll say via email, hey, I got your application, it looks good, I'm gonna mark it completed, and it will move on. I don't want you guys to ever have to go searching for the information of things that I'm doing. So my goal is to always let you know that I am moving it on to the next stage of the process. All submissions does show, it would show previous years of submission. So as we move forward with Submittable, you might see, you know, your 2023, your 2024, your 2025 submissions. Active are the ones that haven't yet been accepted, rejected, what have you, in terms of that its current, its specific grant cycle. If you click on your active submission, you'll see a bunch of activity. Typically, it will, at the beginning, it will just end right here that says, you know, hi, your name, and we may change this email a bit. We've received your submission and we look forward to reviewing it. That's great. If you have a message and you want to send it to me via Submittable, you can click new message and it'll send directly to Division of Arts and Cultural Services, which is essentially me. If you want to add notes, you can add notes for your own use. Now, let's say that you accidentally submitted when you meant to save, and you need to go back and edit something. Well, you're going to need to ask me, Jesse Koza, to edit the submission. So, you know, you're looking at your active page, you've got your submission, you click on your submission, and then over here, you're going to see edit. You've got download, edit, and withdraw. You go ahead and you'll click edit, and this will, I tested this out earlier, so my apologies that this error is coming up. But it will say, you know, I want send a message to Jesse asking for this to edit this form. Let's see, let's grab a different one. Of course. All right, so but basically what I will do is I will hop in to your form and I will open it for editing. I'll email you either via Submittable or outside of Submittable saying, hey, I've opened it up, go ahead and edit. And you will have on your page, it will turn this pink fuchsia color and say editable. So you can open it back up. And you can click, nope. Right. So let me do that one more time just to make it clear. You will open it back up. You can either do it through all submissions or through active. Open it back up, and then under forms, this third tab, there'll be this big fuchsia button that says edit. You can click that, and you can get back into the form. All right, and so let's say you want to switch from no to yes, and then you'll fill out the rest, or perhaps you needed to update the board or upload a different document. You know, we can figure that out and easily get it done. This is obviously a developing arts grant. It's a little different, but it's the same process for either type of grant. So it's very easy. You'll just click edit, send me an email saying why you need to edit it, or maybe you've already emailed me separately and said, hey, I need to edit. And then back on your forms page, under the thing, you will get that big edit button, and you'll use that to edit your document. Just very briefly, as I finish up my explanation here, there are additional tabs here. So there are some that say, there's one that says accepted, one that says declined. Withdrawn, that's under your control. If you withdraw an application, I hope that we would be in communication before that happens, so that we can figure out what happened in the past. Let's say we've had a cultural institution recently try to apply for a grant. That would be an example of somebody who would need to just withdraw. You'll see collaborations here on mine. That's because I was working on a different grant with a collaborator. Our grant process at this time does not allow multiple users to collaborate on one grant. But going back really quick, accepted, declined. So accepted means we have awarded you grant funds. Declined means we have not awarded you grant funds. Once again, it is not my intent, it is not my goal for that to be the way that you find out whether or not you have received funding through the Cultural Funding Committee. I will be in contact with you before then. I'll send you probably a PDF letter saying whether or not you've received funding and how much that funding is. Then a day or two, or maybe even a week later, I'll go through these applications and I'll mark them accepted or declined. You will, goodness willing, you will not log in and see, without knowing one way or another, one of these things say accepted or declined, and have it be a surprise to you. But that's basically it. So you will create a profile. If you haven't already, you'll click submit, which is a little confusing, but it is what it is, on our wichita.submittable.com webpage. Fill out the grant application, and then you and I will work together to make sure that it's complete. Once the committee has reviewed it and the city council has accepted recommendations, that will be marked accepted or declined, and hopefully accepted. That is a very brief, hopefully helpful overview of Submittable and the process. And if anybody in the chat has questions, I'd be very happy to answer them.
Great, thank you so much, Jesse. Just a follow-up from all of that really helpful information, that this session really is just based on the uses of Submittable. The last couple of days, we've had information sessions about the individual grants themselves for both developing arts and organizational grants. If you were able to make those, great. If you didn't make those, we did record those sessions as well. So feel free to check out our website and the city's YouTube channel to refer back to the specifics on the individual grants. One thing to note regarding Submittable, if you've never used the process before, or even if you have, no finances ever go through Submittable. So this is not the way we actually distribute funding through this software. That happens outside of Submittable. And this is purely where we put the applications. There is potential in the future as we work through this new platform to do our annual reporting and our quarterly check-ins, for you to submit your invoices even. We're not necessarily there yet, but we could be throughout this process. But this is just your initial application site to how you're submitting it. And then on the back end, this is where the Cultural Funding Committee will be going through reviewing and scoring everything. The other thing just to keep in mind, and this was reiterated in our past information sessions for the individual grants, is that the city's cultural arts strategic plan is under review right now. The cultural plan currently really provides a lot of guidance in how we distribute funding operationally through development grants and through the artist access grants, and really sets the parameters for those different grant opportunities. Because our strategic plan is under review, our grant process may look a little bit different next year. We're way too early in the process to know what it's going to look like. We do know we're going to be sticking with Submittable. We are on a long-term contract with them, so we will be continuing to move forward with this online platform, pending there's nothing catastrophic. But the process itself, the program itself, could fluctuate year to year depending on that strategic plan. And then an additional note as you're preparing your application is the committee changes year to year. We don't necessarily have a full turnover, but we have term limits that have new board members coming onto the committee each year. So always assume that there's someone that has never heard of your organization on the committee, that you might think that they know everything about your organization, but they might not. That being said, the committee members are all active members of Wichita's arts and cultural scene. So on the flip side, you might know some of the committee members. Please feel free to reach out to myself or Jesse with any questions you have around the program, including Submittable. We really want to deter you from reaching out to committee members themselves, so there's not an appearance of conflict or an appearance of lobbying. And committee members themselves will recuse themselves if they are familiar with the organization, either as a board member, a staff member, or they have a financial gain or in a leadership position with that organization. So please let city staff be interference for any questions or concerns that you may have, whether it's about the individual grant or working through Submittable itself. But thank you, Jesse, for all that information. There was one question that popped up in the chat. That was a great question. So in past years, we did require a dual signature from both the executive director or the person that was submitting the grant and the board president, because we just want to make sure that the board knows that this application is being authorized. With Submittable's processes, we no longer require that. So that is a change from previous years, that dual signature from both a staff member and a board member from the organization are no longer required. Any other questions from the group? All right. If you're still eager to know more, or you want to hear this session again because it didn't quite sink in, we also have this session in person at City Arts this afternoon at 2 p.m. Is that correct, Jesse? Did I get the time right?
That is correct.
So feel free to stop by and get an in-person training as well. Again, this meeting was recorded, so we'll be posting it on the city's YouTube channel, which will be then linked to our website, wichita.gov/arts, so you can refer to it throughout the application cycle. And with that, thank you so much for hopping on behalf of the city of Wichita. We see you and we recognize the important work that you're doing in the community. And we really hope that we can be a financial partner in helping you succeed. But thank you for all you do and good luck with this year's grant cycle. Have a great day.